Welcome back, everyone. Now we have a name to go with the story that's been reported. Did White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel want a Cook County commissioner to keep his congressional seat safe until he could come back and take it?
The Sun-Times is reporting that Emanuel may have wanted Blagojevich to appoint Cook County Commissioner Forrest Claypool as a placeholder. Political analyst Thom Serafin joins us with more. Now, Forrest Claypool has said this is insanity. What do you make of all this?
Well, you know, Forrest is a good representative. I've known him since 1980. Rahm and I and Dave Wilhelm worked on a congressional campaign down in Springfield together. I mean, he's very thorough. He knows what's going on in the world around him. I mean, he can't control what other people are saying about him. I'm certain that Rahm, in knowing him as well as I do know him and did know him, would like to make sure things fall into place at the right time. I mean, he's a tactician. That's the reason he's running the White House. He understands how to put things in place and move things forward. And he also understands that political capital needs to be used when you have it. I mean, if you don't use it, it's like your muscles, they atrophy. So you got to move forward with it. So, you know, we don't know until the tapes come out. We don't know until the trial comes out on Blagojevich. But Rahm has been very quiet about this thing. He's followed the advice of his attorneys. And if he ever ends up in the witness stand, we may know about it. But the long story short, Natasha Korecki, the reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times, covers the federal building. She's very good, and she's rarely wrong.
All right, so you would, if you had to guess, you think this information might be coming out of the tapes, all the recordings that have been made, you know, covering Blagojevich?
I think there's a lot of tapes we haven't heard, and I think probably somewhere in those tapes, you know, the governor's talking to somebody who says something about somebody, but that doesn't mean that Rahm and Claypool actually had that conversation. A lot of people say things in politics that, you know, may sound like something on a voice recording, but may not be intended that way in real life. I personally have been involved in conversations where people say something and I say, whoa, you don't really mean it that way.
Right. Well, but put this in perspective for the viewer at home. Is there any political backlash from this for either Rahm Emanuel or Forrest Claypool?
Well, you know, I don't think so. Not unless there's something that comes out where you actually have the two of them talking about something. I mean, Rahm is a guy that is looking at the whole world, the entire country. They're involved in all kinds of races everywhere. I mean, obviously he knows he's not going to be in the White House forever. He's been there before with Bill Clinton. He doesn't want to stay there. Everybody knows he wants to go back to the House of Representatives, and he'd be a heck of a lot better speaker than the current speaker we have right now, and that's his ambition. Now, how does he get there? If he spends time in the White House, he needs to come back and run for that office. He's never going to be Quigley, not at this point. So it would have been, you know, probably something he might have thought about. But, you know, the law says that you have to have an election. You can't have an appointment. The governor could not appoint to begin with. So it's kind of asinine to think that Rahm wouldn't have known that. You know, you appoint the U.S. senator, you don't appoint a congressional vacancy. You have to, you know, elect that congressional vacancy here in Illinois.
Let's talk a bit about President Obama. He's going to Copenhagen. He's not going. It appears he's going. Is this a gamble for him to go?
Well, we talked about that earlier in the week, and my attitude, if he brings home the trophy, it's a good reason to go. If Obama knows, Obama goes. So my attitude is, I think he's going to show up. Remember, Robert Gibbs, his press secretary, said a couple weeks ago, at this time we aren't making a decision. He said at this time. So they've always left it open. Advanced teams went out on Monday of this week to Denmark. So I think there's three options. He goes and he makes the appearance, he shakes hands and brings 10, 12, 14, 16 votes into our column, into the Chicago column. And then he leaves quickly to take care of the rest of the world. You know, he was at the UN the other day. The G20 summit is going on in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of things that he needs to take care of. The other option is he goes in quickly for some kind of reception, speaks to a few people, and then gets out of there very quickly. And the third option is that he doesn't go at all. But right now, I think you've got to hand it to Lori Healy. She's been running the 2016 thing. She's got everybody going. Oprah Winfrey.
That's a full court press.
Oprah,
the governor, the mayor, Oprah Winfrey.
And you know, people forget Oprah. President. You know, on the Forbes digest of who's the most popular and famous person in the world, she's number 2. She's broadcast in 145 countries. She may do as well, if not better, than the president does. So, I mean, you got Michelle, you got everybody going. So they've got the A-team going. If you win, lose, or draw, you've got to hand it to them. They've thrown everything and the kitchen sink at this situation. And I think we've got a great shot.
Great, Tom. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you.